Cleopatra. The name itself conjures a world of impossible glamour. A world of gold, silk, and lapis lazuli. The last pharaoh of Egypt, a queen so powerful she brought the mighty Roman general Mark Antony to his knees. She was a living goddess, a master politician, a speaker of 9 languages, a woman who commanded armies and held the fate of empires in her perfectly manicured hands. Imagine being chosen to serve in her inner circle, to walk the marble halls of the palace in Alexandria, to breathe the same perfumed air, to witness history being made firsthand. It sounds like the opportunity of a lifetime, a front row seat to greatness. It wasn't an opportunity, it was a death sentence. Today on Dark Chronicles, we are not telling the story of the queen. We are telling the story of the person you would have been, her servant. We will take you on a 24-hour journey through the court of Cleopatra, a journey that almost no one could survive. We will show you hour by horrifying hour why the glamour was a facade, and why serving the last pharaoh of Egypt was one of the most dangerous jobs in human history. If you are ready to pull back the curtain and stare into the true dark heart of the ancient world, subscribe to Dark Chronicles and activate the bell. Your shift in the Palace of Horrors is about to begin, and it will be your last. Your day begins before sunrise. You are one of hundreds of servants in the royal palace, and your first task is the most perilous, waking the queen. You don't approach her directly. That would be suicide. You wait silently, outside her chambers, until one of her trusted handmaidens, Charmian or Iris, gives the signal. The mood of the entire palace for the day is set by one thing: Cleopatra's mood upon waking. Ancient sources like the Greek biographer Plutarch paint a picture of a woman of volatile and unpredictable temperament. One moment, she could be charming, witty, and generous. The next, a storm of violent rage, a misplaced robe, a bath that is too cool, a hairstyle that is not to her liking. Any of these minor infractions could result in a brutal beating at the hands of her guards, right in front of the entire court. You have seen it happen before. A servant, a girl no older than you, was dragged out by her hair and whipped for accidentally spilling a drop of wine the night before. She wasn't seen again. So you perform your duties with a terror-induced precision. You help prepare her bath, infused with milk and honey. You lay out her linen robes. You avert your eyes. You make no sudden movements. You barely breathe. What do you think would be the most terrifying part of serving a ruler with such unpredictable moods? The physical danger or the psychological stress? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You survived the morning ritual. Cleopatra is in a neutral mood today, which is the best you can hope for. Now comes your second test of survival. Breakfast. You do not bring her the food. You are not trusted enough for that. Instead, you are brought to the food, along with several other low-ranking servants, in a special chamber near the royal kitchens. This is the domain of the food taster. Every single dish prepared for the queen, every piece of fruit, every loaf of bread, every drop of wine, must first be tasted. But the official food taster doesn't taste it first. That would be too simple. The kitchen is a hotbed of potential assassins. A cook could have been bribed. A rival could have slipped something in. So, as an extra layer of security, random servants are chosen to be the pre-tasters. Today, the guard's finger lands on you. He points to a small bowl of figs. You know the history. You know that the Ptolemaic dynasty, Cleopatra's family, was built on a foundation of poison. Her father murdered rivals. Her uncle murdered his own son and sent the dismembered body parts to the boy's mother. Cleopatra herself had her own sister, Arsinoe, murdered on the steps of a sacred temple. She had her younger brother and co-ruler Ptolemy XIV poisoned when he was just a teenager. Poison is the ink with which her family's history is written. Your heart pounds in your chest. Your hand trembles as you pick up a fig. You look at the guard. There is no choice. You eat it. And then you wait. You wait for the stomach cramps, the fire in your throat, the convulsions. You wait to die. Today, nothing happens. The fig was just a fig. You have survived the first 6 hours, but the day is young, and the palace has many more ways to kill you. As midday approaches, the palace comes alive. It is not just a home, it is the political nerve center of a kingdom constantly on the brink of civil war and foreign invasion. Couriers arrive from Rome. Generals hold hushed conversations in alcoves. Senators and dignitaries scheme for favor. And you, the servant, are invisible. You move through these scenes, refilling wine goblets, delivering messages, cleaning up spills. And because you are invisible, you see and hear everything. This is the second great danger of your existence: knowledge. In Cleopatra's court, what you know can kill you far more surely than any poison. You might overhear a plot against the queen. You might see a secret letter being passed. You might recognize the face of a rival courtier leaving a senator's chambers late at night. This information makes you a liability, a loose end. And in the Ptolemaic dynasty, loose ends were always tied up permanently. Remember Cleopatra's father, Ptolemy XII. When a delegation of 100 prominent Egyptians sailed to Rome to complain about his rule, he didn't debate them. He hired assassins who hunted them down and murdered most of them on the road. The survivors were bribed into silence. This is the world you live in, a world where inconvenient truths are erased with a blade. If you're fascinated by the dark political intrigue of the ancient world, hit the like button. It helps our channel bring more of these hidden histories to light. Your task is to perfect the art of being deaf, dumb, and blind while having perfect hearing, speech, and sight. You must see the queen's brother plotting with a disgruntled general, and then pretend you saw nothing. You must hear a Roman envoy offer a bribe to a court official, and then wipe the memory from your mind. You must learn to control your own face, to never let a flicker of shock, fear, or recognition cross your features. A single misplaced glance could be interpreted as suspicion, and suspicion is a death sentence. Let's say you make a mistake. You are cleaning a chamber and you see something you shouldn't. A map detailing a planned betrayal, or a vial of poison being prepared. The courtier who owns it sees you. He doesn't threaten you. He doesn't warn you. He simply smiles. And you know with a cold certainty that freezes your blood that you will not live to see the sunset. You will have an accident. You will fall from a balcony. You will be found drowned in a canal, or you will simply disappear, another nameless ghost in a palace built of secrets and bone. Survival means becoming a ghost before you are dead. It means erasing your own presence, your own thoughts, your own reactions. It is a psychological torment that grinds you down day by day. You have made it to noon, but the weight of the secrets you carry is already crushing you. The afternoon is a time for the queen's personal pursuits, and Cleopatra's hobbies were not weaving or poetry. Her great passion, her agreeable occupation, as one historian chillingly puts it, was the study of toxicology. She was one of the ancient world's foremost experts on poison. This was not a theoretical knowledge. It was practical, hands-on, and utterly monstrous. Cleopatra maintained a vast collection of deadly substances and venomous creatures, and she was constantly experimenting, not on animals, but on people. Condemned prisoners were her primary test subjects. She would force them to ingest different poisons, and she, along with Antony and her guests, would watch. They would observe which toxins were quickest, which were slowest, which caused the most pain, and which simply numbed the senses and brought a quiet death. She had men bitten by asps, cobras, and venomous spiders, and then she would study their death throes with a scientist's cold detachment. One source describes her amusement at the variety in the forms and expressions which the agony of her poisoned victims assumed. Your death was her entertainment. As a servant, you are intimately involved in this process. You might be ordered to handle the venomous snakes. You might be forced to mix the deadly potions, and you are always there to clean up the aftermath, to drag the contorted bodies of the dead from the chamber. And the line between condemned prisoner and disposable servant is terrifyingly thin. This aspect of Cleopatra's reign is a shocking piece of history that most people don't know. Share this video and ask your friends if they knew the dark truth behind the legend. But today, you are about to become more than a witness. You're about to become part of the most famous poison demonstration in history. The evening banquet is being prepared. The guest of honor is Mark Antony, and Cleopatra has decided to teach her lover a lesson in power and paranoia. Antony, rightly, is terrified of being poisoned by her. He insists that she taste all his food and wine before he does. Tonight, Cleopatra will show him just how useless his precautions are. She has the petals of the flowers in Antony's chaplet secretly coated with a fast-acting deadly poison. The banquet begins. The mood is festive. Wine flows freely. In the middle of the feast, Cleopatra playfully suggests they dip the flowers from their chaplets into their wine to infuse it with their perfume. Antony, charmed, readily agrees. He plucks the poisoned petals and drops them into his goblet. He raises the cup to his lips. At the last second, she stops him. "You see now," she says, her voice calm and steady, "how vain it is for you to watch against me. If it were possible for me to live without you, how easy it would be for me to kill you." Antony is stunned. The guests are silent. But Cleopatra isn't finished. She needs to prove her point. She turns, her eyes scanning the servant standing by the walls. And her gaze lands on you. "To prove my words are true," she says, her voice echoing in the silent hall, "one of my servants will drink the wine." A guard grabs you. He forces Antony's goblet into your hand. You look at the queen. Her face is a mask of cold, regal authority. You look at Antony. He watches, fascinated and horrified. You look at the wine, shimmering with the perfumed poison. There is no escape. You are no longer a person. You are a prop in a royal drama. Your life is worth less than the point she is trying to make. To get even deeper into these dark stories and access exclusive content, consider becoming a member of the Dark Chronicles channel. Click the join button below. You drink. The ancient historian Jacob Abbott describes what happened next with chilling simplicity. He did so, and died before their sight in dreadful agony. You have not survived 24 hours. You have not even survived 18. Your life ended as a piece of theater, a gruesome punchline in a power play between two lovers. Your body is dragged from the hall, and the banquet continues. But let's imagine a different path. Let's imagine you were not chosen to drink the wine. You survived the banquet. You are now in the final desperate hours of your 24-hour shift. And the dangers are far from over. The palace is a tinderbox of political tension. Cleopatra's rule is not secure. Her own people have rebelled against her before. The Romans are a constant threat. The night is when the daggers come out. Suddenly chaos erupts. An assassination attempt. A rival faction storms the palace. Or perhaps it is the final invasion by Octavian's forces. The marble halls become a battlefield. Loyal guards fight desperate rebels. Servants are cut down indiscriminately in the confusion. You are unarmed, untrained, and trapped. Your only instinct is to run, to hide. But where? Every room could be a trap. Every corner could hide an enemy. You see things you were never meant to see. A trusted general leading the traitors. A noble lady stabbing a guard in the back. You have become a witness again. But this time, in the middle of a war zone. If the rebels win, they will slaughter everyone loyal to the queen, including you. If the queen's guards win, they will execute every servant who saw which nobles were involved in the plot to ensure their silence. Palace massacres are a dark and recurring theme in history. Explore more of them in our Royal Bloodbaths playlist, linked in the description. You manage to find a hiding place, a small storage closet, and you wait, listening to the sounds of battle rage and then slowly die down. Hours pass. Finally, silence. You have survived the night of chaos. You cautiously open the door. The halls are littered with bodies. You have made it. 24 hours. You are alive. But as you step out into the dawn of a new day, a hand falls on your shoulder. It is one of the Queen's royal guards. He recognizes you. He knows you were serving in the hall where the traitors were revealed. He smiles, a cold, empty smile. "The Queen requires your silence," he says. "You have survived the battle, but you will not survive the peace." There was no escape. Whether you were killed by a queen's whim, a courtier's ambition, a drop of poison in a cup of wine, or a soldier's blade in a dark corridor, your fate was sealed the moment you entered the service of Cleopatra. Your life was a tightrope walk over a pit of vipers, and every single step was a gamble. The psychological terror of the unpredictable moods, the constant threat of being a poison taster, the burden of deadly secrets, the casual cruelty of the court's amusements, and the ever-present political violence, it was a storm of dangers that no ordinary person could navigate for long. Cleopatra's story ended with a snakebite, a death she chose after a lifetime of studying poisons. But what about the Roman emperors who came after her? In our next video, we explore the madness of Caligula and why his servants had it even worse. Click here to watch. We remember Cleopatra for her power, her intelligence, her love affairs, and her legendary death. But we forget the hundreds, perhaps thousands, of nameless servants who died to make her reign possible. The food tasters, the bodyguards, the handmaidens, the stable boys, the disposable people whose lives were spent in constant mortal fear. So when you think of the glamour of Cleopatra's court, remember the reality. Remember the servant who was beaten for a spilled drink. Remember the prisoner writhing in agony for the queen's amusement. And remember the servant who was forced to drink the poisoned wine, dying in a silent scream while the banquet went on. You wouldn't have survived 24 hours, because in the world of the last pharaoh, you were not a person. You were simply one more thing to be used, and then broken.